Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Marvin. If today is the first time of stopping by, you're most definitely welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back once again. So today I'm here with a Nigerian international student, and we are going to be having a conversation about how he applied to school in Canada and also how he applied for his study permit application or student visa. So stick and stay, don't go anywhere. Okay, so I'll let him introduce himself first and then we take it from there.
All right, so my name is Samuel. I'm from Nigeria. I'm doing my master's in energy systems engineering. I did my undergrad in mechanical engineering from Covenant University, Nigeria. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so Samuel, tell us about like your whole school application process. Was MAN the only school you applied to? Which other schools did you apply to? Which year did you apply to MAN, and when did you come to Canada eventually?
Oh, okay. So my application process was actually long because I started my application process in April of 2021, but I wasn't sure of the course I wanted to do. So I applied to 3 schools actually for 3 different courses. I applied to University of Windsor for automobile engineering, masters in automobile engineering. I applied to Ontario Tech University for masters in mechanical engineering. And then I applied to Memorial for masters in mechanical engineering. But the thing is that all I wanted to do was non-thesis based, so basically coursework. So the school that got back to me in about a month or 2 months, it was University of Windsor. They didn't give me the admission. The reason why they didn't give me the admission, they said, what was the reason? Yeah, they were looking for people with a higher GPA. Yeah, but then I wasn't surprised because I have like 2 of my other friends doing the same course there, and they finished first class. I finished with a 2-1. They finished first class, so I kind of think like the course in the university, they only admit people with first class or very high GPA close to first class. So yeah, I didn't really feel bad. And then when we come back to Memorial, they didn't. Yeah, Memorial. When I applied in April 2021, they got back to me that the portal had closed. So if I wanted to move my admission to 2022, so I moved my application for 2022, and then they didn't get back to me till like July of 2022. At that point, they didn't give me the admission for the masters in mechanical engineering too. But the reason they put there was no supervisor. And when I checked their website, it didn't state that you need a supervisor for the masters. So I emailed them and I texted them. I said, from my opinion, I thought the masters in mechanical engineering was a coursework because there's some schools that offer coursework for masters. So I emailed them and they were like, oh, it must have been a mistake that it's a thesis based program. I met all the other requirements except there was no supervisor willing to take me for the program. So I told them, oh, so what do we do now? Because from what is in your website, it's supposed to be a course based. So they told me, okay, we have options of course based programs. So I think they told me energy systems engineering and oil and gas engineering. So they asked me to actually pick between those 2. The good thing was that I didn't have to pay another application fee. So they just transferred my file, or they transferred my application file to the department. So I picked energy systems engineering. So once I did that, I think in about 2-3 weeks they gave me the admission. All this while I was still waiting for Ontario Tech to get back to me. Ontario Tech, at the end of the day, they got back to me. They didn't give me the admission too. So really, picking Memorial University was like, condition make crayfish bend. So I just had to pick it because that was the only option. When it comes to the documents that I submitted for my process, so I know some people, when they are applying to schools, they believe that most schools like to ask for IELTS. This is for schools admission now. So what I did was, most of these schools, when they know you come from an English-speaking country, they give you there's a waiver. So but what I did to be on the safe side, I texted my school, because it depends on the school you finish from. My school, Covenant University, it's like they have this communication, so you can easily ask them for many things. You apply for it, it will give you. So I took a letter stating that I was taught in English, basically. So I got that, my WAEC result, my original WAEC results, because it's not just the regular one. I went to get the original WAEC certificate. So I used that. I used my transcripts, original transcript. I used my university
transcript
from Covenant University. Okay. Yes, my undergraduate transcript, my original certificate that I graduated. I put that there. Then I got I had to write. I wrote like a very long statement of purpose, 2,000 words. It was very long. I don't know. I wasn't taking any chances. So I wrote a 2,000 word statement of purpose stating why I wanted to do that course. What else? What else did I put in my application? Yeah, you have to submit your, like your international passport as proof of, my resume. I submitted my resume. I tailored it towards professional, professional setting, your internship and all of that you've done. Then I had to get like 2 recommendations from like mostly academics, because I was a fresh graduate, so it was mostly academics. But I did an internship before, so I took one from a professor in school and one from the person, my boss at that time. So my professor was the one that actually like did my final year project with. So, and luckily for my final year project was published, so it was very good getting a recommendation letter from him. So I got that from him, and then those were the documents that I think I used to submit. I can't remember if there's any other thing, but from what I've mentioned, I think those are like the major things you need for your application, the recommendation letter. Because I think in Memorial you have to the person will send it there personally. Yeah. So those were the things that I submitted.
Oh, okay.
All in all, Memorial took, because my process was from, I didn't get my full admission till like July of 2022. Was it July? No, it wasn't July. It was like June of 2022, basically. Yeah, it was June of 2022. But before they got back to me for the master's program, it took about almost a year, because I applied in April, May, and they didn't get back to me till April thereabout. So it took about a year. That's if you are going for the thesis based. So you are going to have to wait a very long time. But for the course based, since they transferred my application, it was about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I remember it was the day I finished my NYSC. They got back to me. So yeah, the admission, I don't think the admission process takes that much time for course based than it does for. But from what I heard from one of my lecturers that's in Memorial, he was like the course based program, especially for energy systems, is getting tougher.
Yeah.
So he said I think you were in class, so he was like they are bringing more. They are being more stringent on the people that they are picking for them. Before, I think, even though they were being more stringent, because if you're coming for masters, you can't come with like a 2-2. You can, I think you can if you have enough work experience, but you can't just really come with 2-2. But now I think even the 2-1 that they are bringing, as the second class upper that they are bringing, I think it has to come with like a high CGPA and then work experience to pad it up too, because the course is becoming more, I think, tougher. Yeah, because we're doing we're doing tough courses, man. So yeah, that's it.
And I think it's because of COVID. That's why they also relaxed the rules a bit to be able to accommodate more students.
More students, yes.
During COVID, the number of people they were admitting reduced because you couldn't travel, right? So yeah, they relaxed it a bit. But right now they are taking it back to where it used to be before. So it might not be easy getting in like the way, like, let's say some of us had it, right? So yeah, that's also another point. One
key thing I think is you should actually apply early, because from what I know, from what I've if you apply early, way early before the deadline, the way they assess the admissions or the applications is first come, first serve. So if your application is late, at that point you're trying to squeeze in 1 or 2 or 5 other people. So if your application and your documents are not that strong, you're already falling on the downside. So try apply early so they give you admission early. That will also help your visa too. So yeah.
Okay, so now you've gotten your admission from Memorial University.
Yeah.
What next? What did you do next in terms of like your visa application process?
Oh, okay. Now this is where the going gets tough. Because if you're applying for admission, school admission, you think it's hard, but that's actually the easier part. Yeah. When it comes to the visa, that's where the tough part comes in, because IRCC, they will make you wait, they will test your patience. So when I got my admission, the first thing I did was I went back to my passport, I tapped it, so I brought it out. Yeah, I saw my passport actually expiring, because I thought by that time I would have applied. My passport was expiring. I got the admission in 2022. My passport was expiring July of 2022.
Okay.
Basically. So at that point I was like, okay, I don't have time again. And getting your passport in Nigeria is another ball game entirely. So I sharply, how we run them. I sharply went, tried to get my passport on time. I'm just going to leave you there. I tried to get my passport on time. So I got my passport in about 1.5 months. Yeah, 1.5.
Okay.
With the way I did it. So I got it in 1.5 months. Yeah. Then immediately I went to write my IELTS. Because even though they say IELTS is not compulsory, I like to just be on the safe side, because at that point I was trying my best to resume in September. So I wanted my application, all the documents, I wanted everything to be on point, so they wouldn't say okay this or that or this. So what I did was I went straight to write my IELTS.
Did you write? general test?
No, academic.
Academic, okay.
Now, contrary to what people say about academic, IELTS is not hard. I was working at the same time and I read for IELTS in like 2 weeks while working, so it wasn't even like straight up reading. I got a 7.5. What did I do? Barron's IELTS textbook. If you find that textbook, you just need to read that textbook, basically. I think you should focus on the writing, reading. Once you have that, then I went online. I was like, okay, IELTS practice test. So I did that, and in about 2 weeks I got like 2.5. I got 7.5, which is not bad for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of prep. Yeah. And then what else did I do again? Yes, so I got that. Another thing I did was I went to get, if you are applying, you need to do medicals. Sometimes some people like to wait until, because they don't want to waste their money. Yeah. But I think it's like 46,500 Nigerian naira. Yeah. So there's only one naira, and that's Nigeria. So
you did upfront?
Yeah, I did an upfront medical test. So my application would be tight. And what I did basically was almost the same documents I used for my admission. So now I had my passport. I did 10 years. So because after you do 10 years, you know go back again. So I did 10 years. I had my passport. YX certificate. At that point, I finished my NYSC. So my NYSC certificate, school. I did that on my transcript. I think I added my transcript for toughness. Then I did another. Is it letter of explanation? They call it a letter of explanation stating. And in that my letter of explanation, it wasn't that long. It wasn't like for 2,000 words. No, it was like 1 page. I went straight to the point. I said, "Oh, my parents will be sponsoring me. Then, if you have travel history, it's very good to have travel history." So I told them.
You had travel history.
Yeah, travel history. I had been to the US 2 times. But it wasn't for vacation because nobody said I get money. It was for work. There's this program they do. It's for undergraduates. It's so they call it summer work and travel program. So you go when you are still in school. It's an opportunity. You travel to the US, you work, and then you come back. But you have to come back here. So I did that, and then I did my internship in the US too. There's also another program. So it's a different kind of category. That's not why we're here. So I did that. So I had travel history. I think I'd been to Dubai too before. So that helped me too. So I put that in a letter that, my parents usually they are keen on me gaining, cultural. I like to learn about different cultures. That's very good. It sweetens the deal for you. Be like, you like to learn about different cultures, which was one of the reasons why I went to the US to learn from different people. And now that I've been to the US, I've seen the culture in the US, and I've also learned from some other people because the program is not just for Nigerians. Different people from different countries come over. So I was like, I've met some people from different countries, and now I found out that Canada is another country that is really bringing people in. So when I was doing my calculation on countries to study, this was everything I put in my statement of purpose. So I was like, when I was doing my calculation for countries to go, I was also looking at the English. I didn't want to learn a new language. So I was like, okay, let me go to Canada. Since they have different international students coming in, I will meet different people there. So I put it in my statement of purpose that, the cultural value. And also I was like, okay, another thing about statement of purpose is because you are going for that, your master's has to go in line with your undergrad. So I was like, I did my undergrad in mechanical engineering. Now I want to go into energy because of the net zero thing. So it's just basically tell them the truth, but make the truth sweeter than it actually is. Yeah. That's basically what I did. And then.
But let me look at it. So, but in your statement of purpose, you also stated like your study plan, like your plans after school.
Yeah.
You go back to Nigeria, right?
Yeah, what I said in that point, Nigeria, we have, this was the exact words I used in my statement of purpose. I said Nigeria is in a constant, Nigeria's power system is in a constant debilitating state. That was the exact word I used. And at that point in 2022, when I was writing my statement of purpose, we had like 4 shutdowns of the power grid, which was very sweet for me because I was like, at this point in the past 4 months, I think it was 4 months, 5 months, we've had like 4 power grid failures, which there was no light in the whole country. So I was like, my plan after school is, I'm coming to learn about energy. I'll work a bit and then bring that experience that I've gotten from here. I'll bring it back to Nigeria to improve the power. Let's use power to increase the power situation in the country. I put that in my statement of purpose too. Okay. Next thing I did was get my proof of funds. So basically, you need your school fees, and then you need like 10,000 for proof of funds. At that point, I was waiting for Form A. If you are in Nigeria, you know what Form A is. I was waiting for Form A. Form A was taking time, so I paid 7,000 out of my school fees. I paid 7,000 through black market. I paid that so that my application, so they can see that it's actually serious. You don't have to actually. I have a friend of mine. He's University of Toronto. He didn't pay anything for. He only paid the deposit to hold his admission. He didn't pay anything for school fees while applying. So I paid 7,000 and then I had my proof of funds. So I had a DOM account. My father had a DOM account, so DOM account, Naira account. You just mix your funds. Another thing I know people do is they put like property, like if they have like a house, they submit that. I didn't submit that, so I didn't submit that. But many people they do that, like they do like property valuation. Yeah. So you do property valuation. That also helps. What else helps? I don't know about that. But then, yeah, this was all the things that I submitted. My WAEC certificate and all. I think that was all I.
You did police reports.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that. I did police report. Police reports. Yeah, that took time to get, but I think right now it's actually very easy to get it, but it's expensive. I did police reports. Some people say it's not compulsory, but just not to stress your application. Let your application come. At that point, I was hearing that some people are very lucky. The application comes in like a month. Some comes in 2 weeks. Some 8 days. I don't know how or what magic they are using or the spirit that is going with them, but everybody should pray for that kind of spirit. Okay. So yeah.
So when did you finally submit your application?
I submitted my application in was June.
June 2022.
Yeah, June 2022. June ending 2022. Yeah, middle of June. I think middle of June ending 2022. Yes, thereabout.
Okay. So how long did it take for IRCC to get back to you?
Oh, me, I was praying. I was like, oh, my birthday is coming in July. So I was like, okay, God, please give me my something on my birthday. I don't know why, because some people were coming 2 weeks. Yeah. When I was applying, their own was coming. So I was like, oh, let me be one of those people. But I applied in like June. My IRCC didn't get back to me. The deadline for resumption in Memorial was September 22. Yeah, September 22. IRCC didn't get back to. By that time, by September 10th or so, I already deferred my admission to January.
Oh, okay.
And then my visa came in like September 12th or 13th thereabout. So yeah, it took almost the exact 3 months that they had in their wait time. Yes. Yeah. And a friend of mine applied 2 weeks after I did. He applied in July 8th or so. He came the same day with me, and it was on a Saturday, which IRCC they don't usually like bring it out on a Saturday. But what I did during those periods because I knew that my time was closed. And there's something that I don't know about Ghana, but in Nigeria we have this in Nairaland.com. Okay. I think it's like Reddit or so. Is it Reddit they call it, or Pinterest or something? Mm-hmm. It's like a website where people they open like a page, like a group. So you come and update yourself. So at that time, people were coming online and they were dropping their time, and they were like, okay, I submitted, my own came this time. I submitted, they refused me this time. So they were dropping their timeline. So I saw that the people that applied the same period with me, their visas started coming out. But the usual thing is they tell you that IRCC, they usually bring out their admission in Mondays to Fridays. But mine came on Saturday, so I was very surprised. I remember when it came out, I went to get petrol or something. My petrol the keg burst. So I was very frustrated, and I came back and I saw, oh, you have an email from IRCC. Yeah. There's something some people used to do. Some people they used to text, they would text members of parliament or so to try and boost. I didn't do any of that. I submitted my application and I left it because I did not want to do anything that would jeopardize whatever it is. So I left it there. But they got back to me on a Saturday, like almost 3 months after.
So after that, now they requested for your passport.
Yes.
So
yes.
Did you go there yourself to submit it?
The next Saturday, on Monday, I went to VFS Lagos. Okay. I went to VFS Lagos to submit my passport. But I went there by like was it not by like 11 or so? They actually have a time frame when you should come and submit. So I had those people are very ruthless. Don't think you go and you beg them and be like, oh God, please, I'm coming from. There was a woman that was coming from Ogun State, another state, not Lagos. She was begging. She said, the man said, there's not, Nigerians are very rude sometimes. They were very rude. They were like, oh, bro, there's nothing I can do for you. There's nothing. So the woman had to go back. Yeah, the woman had to go back. So me myself, I had to go back. But I work in that area, so I came back the next day. But you can also use DHL. Usually, when you go for your biometrics, they ask you if you want to use DHL. So you can always use DHL if you are staying far away. Some other people too, they send theirs to, like, I know at that point some people believe that Abuja is faster. If you send your stuff to Abuja, it gets back to you faster. Well, I wasn't in a hurry since I already deferred my admission, so yeah, I just went to Lagos VFS. Okay.
So how long did it take after submitting your passport?
It took about 10 days. Less than 10 days. Less than 10 days. They emailed me to come and pick my passport back, and I went there, picked up my passport. I was ready for travel. I had enough time to book my flight. So yeah.
And so now you passed through Toronto, right?
Yeah, I did like 2 weeks in Toronto before coming here.
Okay, so when you got to Toronto, immigration, did they ask you like any questions?
This thing, I was scared. People will be like, oh, they will ask. I was not scared per se because I've gone to the US before. They always say they will ask you questions. They will say bring out. So when I was traveling, I carried my letter of introduction, which is very important. Yeah. Carry letter of introduction, but I also carry like bank statement because they were like, oh, they want to see your bank statement, especially if at that time I had paid like more than 50% of my school fees. For me, it had come true for me finally. It had come true for me. So I paid like most of my school fees. But I had to carry proof. So I took a like proof from my school that stated that, oh, he has paid this amount, he's a student of this school, blah, blah, so that in case they ask me. When I landed there, they didn't even ask me anything. They just took my letter of introduction. I think we were a lot that day, so they didn't ask me. They just allowed me, they gave me my study permit and allowed me to go. But my friend that came, was it a week or 2 weeks after? They asked him where he was going to be schooling. I think, yeah, they asked him where he was going to be schooling or something. That was all they asked him. Where was he going to school? He told them, and then they gave him this. They're not really that strict. If you are confident, you know your documents are correct, I don't think you should be scared, because except somebody did your application for you and lied on the application, there's nothing to be scared about.
Okay. So how has life been like, being an international student in Canada so far?
In Canada, let me start. I did 2 weeks in Toronto after when I landed, because I came in December, but I didn't come here until January. So 2 weeks in Toronto. When you're not a student, when you enter the country, you think life is sweet here. Because Toronto, the bus system is. My friend had a car, so everything was sweet. We go out, we flex, we come back. I'm a young man, so I got flex. So we go out, we flex, we come back. But when I came into St. John's, I'm going to give you a snippet of life in St. John's right now. So when I came into St. John's, the first shock I felt was there's no Uber in St. John's. Before I came, I had gone to I downloaded Uber, I downloaded Lyft. I was like, okay, so from the airport, I take Uber, I come. When I landed, I'm checking Uber, they're telling me there's no Uber in your vicinity. Yeah. I say, what's going on? So I had to line up to take a cab. So I took the cab home. Next thing, I forgot to mention, you would think that it is cold, but the cold is different. When I came, the jacket I came with from Nigeria, this was even Toronto. Toronto was even not that cold that time. The jacket I came with was a normal jacket. I thought it was strong. Yeah. Immediately, I was stepping out of the airport. The way the cold hit me, I ran back inside the airport. I went to go and calm down. So the cold is another thing you need to be. But that's the thing, you will survive a last class. So many people are always like they don't want to come to Canada because of the cold. But the cold is one thing that, okay, after like 1 week, 2 weeks of steady walking in the cold, you have your thermal wear inside and your normal clothes and your boots. You are good to go. So yeah, the cold. But life in St. John's, it's actually like, I feel like when you first come, there's no country is easy. So when you first come, it will take like 1 or 2 or 3 months, depending on how lucky you are. Yeah. So it takes like some months. But that's why I say, that's why I always advise people when you are coming, come with enough money to last you at least 5 months. Because if you come with money that if you think, if I come, I'll get job in 1 week, I'll get job in 2 weeks, it's not that easy. Yeah. So because you need to do a lot of politicking. You go and meet this person to help you talk to his boss. You will drop applications. They will tell you, they'll get back to you. You will think they will actually get back to you the way they will sound. They won't call you back. So yeah, so that first few months, you are paying rent, you are not getting any money back, you're just debit alert. And it's not even normal debit alert in Naira, it's in dollars. So at that point, some people will be converting the money. So all those things, and so when you come, give yourself have enough money to last you 2-3 months so that you'll be able to survive. Because at that point, you start feeling, did I make the right decision? Because there's no job at that point. So you're just spending money, rent is expensive, food is expensive, you are spending money. So give yourself that time. But I feel like when you've gotten a job, in 2-3 months, you've gotten a job. After once you've gotten the job, in about a month, you realize that okay, so far it's a good job and you're getting hours. You'll realize that okay, it's actually not that bad. You can actually do this. You can actually survive. I feel like you will start getting used to. You have a schedule basically. If you don't have a job, you'll be feeling bored and almost depressed. Not almost, because you just came. So if you are depressed, then something else is wrong with you. Just kidding. But yeah. So but when you get a job, you have like a schedule. You have a class, you have work, so you are busy most of the time, and they want to use project to kill you. So you will always be busy.
Another time we'll talk about
the schooling itself, because that's another thing. It's not easy. So at that point, you have to find like a balance to everything. So because of that, you will not even have time to even think of that. You are bored or this or that, because you are trying to make out time to cook because. You go think say junk cheap. Junk is not cheap. Junk is very expensive. Cooking is cheaper. So learn how to cook before you come. Very important if you are a guy. Yesterday I did vegetable soup, egusi, I did stew, I did pepper soup. I know to cook in Nigeria. So you see, cooking is cheaper. Yeah, but once you balance basically.
Okay. That was an interesting story. So we'll have to wrap up for today. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, kindly do all to subscribe to my channel.
Subscribe to his channel, Marvin Reigns.
Don't forget to like, comment, and also share my videos as well. We'll be bringing you more interesting content as the time goes by.
We will definitely be bringing you more interesting content. We'll come back and tell you. I'm sure I've told him already. He has not answered, but we'll tell you about life in St. John's, because I'm sure when you are checking online, you will not be seeing life about St. John's. So I'm coming back to tell you about life in St. John's, so you know what to expect. Because St. John's and Toronto or Ontario will not be the same thing. When they see your guys, they will do Burna Boy concert for Ontario. Come St. John's, now only black boys don't come. So know what they do.
Okay, guys. See you soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.